Hi comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. And today I am coming to you from the Canal du Midi in the south of France. I'm on the canal, hired a boat for the weekend. The weather is glorious, and I thought I would do a little video about how to get a bargain on Whatnot. So for those of you who are unaware of Whatnot, Whatnot is a platform that enables any individual to set up a shop and sell items. Now, generally, it's been going for probably, I think, about 18 months now. It's only available in the USA. But of course, through the wonder of the interwebby thing, you can buy items on Whatnot from the UK. I've been using Whatnot for over a year now. I get my items that I buy from Whatnot sent to my Stackry account, which is a service that consolidates orders in the USA and then ships them to the UK. I have got a video out about Stackry, so if you're interested, go to that video. I'll put a link below to my Stackry video. Right, back to Whatnot. So as I said, I've been using Whatnot for over a year now. And I thought I'd give people a few tips and techniques for how to get bargains on Whatnot and what generally to avoid. Right, the first thing is there is a lot of what I would call tat on Whatnot. This is sort of modern comics, variant covers that I think, you know, they're some of them are going to be worth something sometime, but most of them they're generally hyped, and you know, because they show ones that are popular at the time, the prices I think they go for are not interesting. So you want to avoid all that. There's quite a lot of that, and there's quite a few sellers out there. That's the only type of thing they're selling. So the trick is to find sellers who've actually got something that's worth selling. And when you find one, keep track of them, because they generally keep coming back with some good stuff. There's one seller in particular that I follow. Actually, his quality of stuff has dropped off in the last few weeks. I suspect because quite a lot of his good stuff he has already sold. But yeah, so find a good seller. There's quite a lot of sellers on Whatnot, and so it's worth going in and checking a few out and seeing what they're selling. Because generally, if you watch 2 or 3 items, that'll give you a good impression of what they're selling. Right, the other thing I'd say is, having found some good sellers, is also find sellers who have low numbers of people watching them. Right, if you go to sort of popular sellers like Comic Tom or Gem Mint Collectibles, there's always over 100 people watching them, and consequently, you know, if they do put up a decent comic, it goes for a decent price. You know, it goes for about fair market value, and you're not going to get any massive bargains by watching the big sellers who've got the big numbers of people watching. The trick is to find the sellers who've got maybe, generally I look for sort of between 10 and 20 people watching. Below 10, it probably means there's nothing there worth following. But between 10 and 20 means you're not going to have a lot of competition for the comics that are coming up. The other thing I'd say as another good tip for Whatnot is the way the shipping works is, I think you pay for the first item, you pay $5 or $6 shipping. But thereafter, each item is $1, and that doesn't matter if it's a bundle. So on a few occasions, you know, I bought a single comic for $1, which ended up costing me $6. But When you buy a second item from that seller, it's only $1 each for shipping. So you want to find a seller you want to buy 5 or 6 things from, because that really gives you great shipping deals. So that is another tip: buy multiple items. Don't just buy a single item, because if you just buy a single item, you will end up paying a reasonable amount for shipping. Most of these are not shipping to the UK, so you will need a US address to buy from whatnot. And as I said earlier, I use Stackry. Okay, another whatnot tip is do not get caught up in Fomo. If there's an item you see and you like it, but it is being hotly contested, just drop out at the price which you think is your maximum for that item. Because I've seen too many people, get attracted to an item, and an item ends up going for more than fair market value. So don't do that. Even if it's a comic you really want, if it's more than you originally wanted to pay for it, drop out. Okay, next thing is, and I've said this before on other videos, it's always worth buying the things nobody else is looking at buying. A good example for this recently was I got a copy of Patsy Walker's Fashion Parade in probably a 7.5 or 8.0, fair market value something like $250 in that grade, up to $600 in a 9.8, and I picked it up for $40. And the other thing is, another tip here is, if the seller has put an item up and it doesn't sell, make them an offer for it. So this happened with the Patsy Walker. He put it up for $50, it didn't sell. I dropped a note in there and said, put that back up for $40 and I'll buy it. And he did, and I got it for less than he'd originally listed it for. So watch out for those where the item doesn't sell, because the guys want to move the items. Right, the other one is go for stuff that is currently not popular and is not on people's hot lists. Again, I have another example of this. It was actually from the same seller. He'd got a number of copies of Sweet Tooth #1, which were in near mint condition. This is a comic that was really hot a year ago when the Sweet Tooth television program came out. It peaked in value at about $800. But if you go and look at the fair market value of a 9.8 now, it's about $240. Anyway, this guy put a Sweet Tooth #1 up for $40. Nobody else bid. It was in near mint condition. I bid him $40 and I got it because it's not currently hot. But there's a second series of Sweet Tooth coming out and it's going to get hotter. So that's another tip. Go for stuff that is not currently hot. Another tip is look out for keys. Now, they don't come up very often, but when they do, sometimes you can get an absolute cracking bargain. So I clicked onto this seller, it was about a week ago, and he was selling, he'd just taken possession of an entire collection. He'd obviously paid out a fair amount of cash, but he'd obviously, paid X amount per comic, and he was selling off books from the collection in order to recover some of his costs. These are the things to watch out for. This guy was keen to sell, and he'd got some absolute crackers in this collection. The first thing he put up that I saw was he had The Cat #1, #2 and #3. This is a Bronze Age key. It's the first appearance of the cat, who later becomes Tigra. The costume is then adopted by Hellcat. So it's got a number of first appearances. It's from 1972. And check it out, check out the fair market value, guys. And I picked up #1, 2 and 3 in what looked like sort of mid to high grade condition for $80. Great deal. He then was selling huge lots of comics. He put up a load of Gru comics, I think about 30 odd Gru comics from the Marvel run, which can sell for sort of $3 to $5 each, and I got all 40 for $1 each at $40. These are the type of sellers to watch out for. You don't find them very often, but they are out there. You just have to spend a bit of time looking for them. There are some absolute cracking bargains to be had on Whatnot. I've had some real cracking deals, much better than I get on eBay, and I strongly suggest that you set up a Stackry account and you start having a look at Whatnot, because it is a really good way of collecting comics and getting some really good deals. That's it. I'm going to swing you around so you can have a look at the canal, but that's it for today. There we go, we've got a canal boat disappearing into the distance there. The lock behind me has just opened and the boats are coming through. We will be heading off shortly. We've got about 4 or 5 locks to negotiate this afternoon. There we go, enough said, thanks for watching.